Let's see, it should be going live, and there was the countdown. All right. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investors. Something just flew in my eye. Sorry. How's everyone doing? Happy Sunday. Thank you for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Of course, every Sunday, if you're new here, it's going to be basically just having a grand old time looking at stocks, looking at charts, discussing things, and of course, maybe some random banters and some offshoot of things, but really just looking at stocks as well as looking at some overall potential earnings coming out. There's not really much on the earnings playbook. We have Asana, which I own a position in. Sorry, I got something in my eye. I cannot get out of. Okay. All right. Sorry. We have Asana, Adobe. I know Makeshift Player. GME is this week. That's another stock that, especially the folks on Wall Street Bets, have helped really kind of get some movement going on that. That is on the 8th. So it's actually, okay, it's in a couple days. So it's going to be pretty fast approaching around the corner. I want to thank Makeshift for coming out. DMC 8282. We got David S., my friend. What's up, my buddy? Alan, how you doing? Dan. Yeah, we'll go ahead and have a lot of fun today. So let's go ahead and kind of jump. Gin and tonic, nice. Like, I'm just over here with some H2O, not really just living up that life, but I guess so. So cheers to that, folks. Let's go ahead and kind of come in here and look for some stocks. Let's go ahead and just start with the S&P 500. So futures market, we're going to be looking at /ES. You can see on the top here. We're kind of coming out to kind of a little bit of a blah, meaning that's not really anything to write home about, and it's not crashing, it's not going higher. We are just up a minuscule, down just a hair, about 0.12, nearly 4 points, 5 points down. So something that's really not something really to go write home about. The thing is also with the NASDAQ has kind of been popping around a little bit, but again, this is a $12,000+ stock. We were up 35, 40 points at one time, making it an all-time high as of today on Sunday with that movement. But again, now kind of just coming around, beating around the bush. At the same time, what is our little good old friend, the VIX over here doing, the fear gauge? That it is kind of consolidating here. I'm probably the worst VIX trader known to man on earth. But this could be potentially trying to spool up here for something. There is a lot of ongoing concerns in the market, from everything from rising deaths to more ICU usages to potentially lower job number, higher unemployment and lower jobs being created. And at the same time, hoping for a lot of the wonderful people down in DC. The reason I point that way, because DC for me is about 42 miles this direction, 42 miles east. So that's why I was pointing that direction, to get their stuff together, to really help the small business owner and really kind of get somewhat of a better handle on this, and maybe do some financial mischief or fun stuff with that. Anyway, so that's basically just the overall rundown that we're going to be looking at for again today. Again, we have Adobe, we have Toll Bros coming out on Monday, which again is going to really look at some Lennar stock, excuse me, and then also Zillow as well. Look for that. When did I show myself on cam? I've been doing it on and off a little bit, depending on how my hair was. Yeah, let's go ahead. And so I did a very short video. So I do these little short videos just to really get my point across and not make everyone waste their time on a 10-minute video or 8-minute video. That is definitely something to look for. So basically, the summary of that, the overall expected move for Adobe for the week is $30 plus or minus, meaning It can go up 30. It can go up as high as it wants. It can go down low as it wants. But the options maker are the option makers, the people who price the options, who give the volatility, who give their expected moves for the week, is basically their model, their Black Scholes model, Black Scholes model of basically giving it a plus or minus of the bell curve of 68% of the moves going to be within $30. 68% is a lot more than 50%, so it's not just like a coin flip. There are some probability cases with that. Some really great books talking about how those models work, and somehow a little bit different there. But with that, my hair is like going crazy. I'm sorry, like I shouldn't be touching it. With again looking for the potential higher target around 515 or higher, and then down to the low side around the 56 kind of range there. But yeah, Sean's mom's model. That's basically what some people would call it as. Some people are not a fan of it. I'm not going to be going into too much detail and creating an argument between which fractional economics models that we should be using, but there's some great books that I've read really disregarding that particular model. But anyways, David S says, I've owned Adobe since $75. Wow. You're a happy camper. Fantastic for you. We're going to give you a little thumbsies up for that one. Let's give you a little thumbs up for that, for David S for owning Adobe for such a long period of time. GTFO says, NVIDIA going now here. Okay, let's see here. I think I had an alert on, and oops, I misspelled that. It was an NVDA. Just like a lot of these stocks, like it's going nowhere fast. Just like I've kind of pointed out, Microsoft kind of do the same kind of pattern. It's just in this very tight kind of range here, and really just not doing much of anything, like you said. It just kind of it's got a 1% up 2% move, and then it kind of comes and gives it back a little bit. Then it moves up a little bit, then it kind of comes back again. It just kind of just stays in this trading range, which is totally fine. This is perfect for selling premium, selling calls, or selling puts. This kind of environment, you have the IVs kind of low, but we do have a kind of looks like it could be potentially setting up for a squeeze, honestly, GTFO. I'm looking for potentially it to break and really stay above that $542, $545 range. Since the moving average is not aggressively pointing down or whatever direction, it's kind of just potentially just lagging there and just waiting for something to happen. Like, we don't know what's gonna kick it higher or go kick it lower. I think we just kind of sitting on your hands and is really waiting for a distinctive marker. A distinctive marker really is to potentially see it start breaking above that 545 range to potentially that 562 and really break those the top bands of the parabolic SAR dots. Those are the little purple dots you see right now, which we've seen those break a couple times before, but it has given it right back with no really staying power into that move there. And this is somewhat easier to trade in the sense of, if it does move up, you have an order to buy at this level, and then a stop loss of, like, I don't know, depending on how I like to roll, could be anywhere from 3 to 5%. I wouldn't do more than 7 at most, because once you start getting at those lower, higher numbers of stop losses, it's going to take a lot more to get your gains back. And unless you're investing in this, and then you don't have to pay any attention to this kind of nonsense. But really looking for, again, that potentially to break above that 562 and potentially run up to testing its all-time highs, which we have seen before, but has given it all back within one day. So it's definitely going to be something to look out for. But with the overall NASDAQ, or the noodles as we call it, continue to grind higher, I think that some of these lagging ones will potentially kicking up from there. And I spent a lot of time really going on to that. You're very welcome for the Tesla Michael Burry video. Yep, Tesla. I made $900 on EMA with 2 option call swings last week. How do we trade it for this week? Eric, so I would more or less like to tell you that hope you had a plan going into it. Potentially, depending on what the time frame of those options are, if there's a lot of time decay on them, potentially take them off. That's what I would do. I don't like to hold in very short dated options. The short dated means within like 60 days into earnings, because anything can happen. Yes, you can double your money if it goes up, but you can also lose all your money on the way down. And the point of this game is actually to protect your money and grow that money. Thoughts on Michael Burry saying he's shorting Tesla? Godspeed to him, David. Godspeed to him. BA says Fastly. FSLY. So that kind of came back from the dead a little bit. Had a little bit of a pulse, of course, with it really getting sliced in half in the sense of not having the Snapchat services on their stuff. Really kind of gave back. Then not a so great quarter. Kind of found a little bit of rebound here on the 200 EMA, and then kind of made a slow grind back with a huge pop of huge substantial amount of volume. I don't even know what the reason was behind this. On what was issued, or some kind of statement was taken, or someone upgraded it, or some person bought into it. I don't know, but that was a pretty large move up with a lot of volume. But I would not be too gung-ho about it personally. It didn't really kind of hold some key levels. It didn't stay above $90. The trend is still somewhat normal. If it starts breaking below $77, $75, that's going to be maybe start going downtrending. It's still just kind of base building here, just kind of potentially feeling the waters and testing it out, going from there. Where is U, X, I, and N? I don't know what this company does, but that trend looks very much downish to me. And you're seeing that really not get above that 200 EMA multiple times, failing here, failing there, and then failing here. Potentially, it looks like it has earnings as well. It looks like it has a question marks earnings on the 9th, and really kind of seeing this potentially bounce off this level around $1.27. But I really can't touch this with a 10-foot pole. I'm sorry, Lopez. You're usually doing 8% for stop loss. That's a little bit more on the aggressive side, to be quite honest, if you're trading it. Oh, Costco. Yes, I totally forgot about Costco's this week. Yeah. What are my thoughts on vaccine plays? It's you're playing the craps. It's a casino. That's a better way of looking at it. I don't think anyone really knows on who's going to win what or how it's going to do. Like, everyone was very hyped about Pfizer, and it gave great news, but then oopsie daisies, now we have supply chain problems. Like, WTF, what are you guys doing over there? You're a billion-dollar company. Get your stuff together. So I'm not really the biggest fan of the pharmaceutical businesses, because, again, you're really just tied to testing data, in the sense of if your drug's going to be passed or not. It's just a little too much randomness for me. AMD is looking good. Yes, AMD is looking very fine. AMD, we're looking for this. It tried to break out of its all-time high here. Still kind of trading in range around that $94 range. Really looking for this to continue to potentially grind here. As long as it really stays in the short-term support above 90, it can come all the way down to 86 to even $84. And that trend will still be very much intact. But really looking for targets around 100 and 106 there. So we're definitely looking for that. Usually looking there. Can you please check out AMAT and Beaker, please? Yeah. AMAT ET. That's an interesting one. It looks like a fantastic report here out of that. Look, is it being bought? That's kind of strange pattern up here. It's very tight consolidation. Is it being bought? Not seeing anything on the initial news tab, but very interesting. Like a sideways pattern here. Let me look on the weekly side. Yeah, very strange looking chart. Like it has huge moves and then it doesn't do anything, or it has a huge move and it really goes down. So not exactly sure what the company does, but it looks like some kind of in the technology realm. Let me look at some fibs here. Yeah, basically, as long as it stays basically above the 264 to 267, the chart looks like just wants to consolidate and potentially build up the momentum to break above that 287. To the downside, we're going to be looking for some support around 250 to even lower. But it's not my favorite looking chart, to be quite honest, unless you have some other worthwhile knowledge that I definitely do not know anything about. And then KE Holdings. Okay, this looks like a brand new IPO or something. Yeah, this kind of sold off on the earnings here, it looks like. Hit a high, running into earnings, kind of turning sideways. Now kind of coming back down. We do see the 5 and 8 crossing through the 21 EMA, and now kind of trading sideways on the 55 EMA here on the daily side. Potentially looking for this to hold here around that $62 to $60 range. For base building, we are seeing the volume kind of pick up here. We're not seeing any large red candles kind of come down here again, so that's honestly a good sign as well, to kind of potentially see this kind of base here. What we really want to start seeing is that 5 and 8 crossing through the 21 EMA and start getting up some levels above $65 to $68 to see potentially testing those parabolic SER dots. Alan S., what's up, my friend? I think Tesla is going to dip on or after the 21st hard. Any thoughts? The 21st is when the 21st? Yeah. Honestly, I have to really agree with you on that one. Not meaning I don't want to agree with you. Again, Tesla, we saw this very much so with that 5-to-1 split. Once that happened, I think everyone thought they got free money or something like that, which I think some people did pretty well. Like, hey, you're not going to be magically giving 5 shares at the same price. The price comes down, but you still get more. I don't think people understood that. Because you saw that with Apple and Tesla with the huge run up into it. So I think that's a very good insight there, Alan, to potentially see that December 21st being a key target for potentially some I'm not going to say short it, but potentially some profit taking wherever that sits and potentially seeing a dip and maybe getting at some lower prices. Commander John, looking at AQB. Yeah, this one really has ripped substantially higher here. This is I forget what the company did, but I think I remember looking it up because it came up to a lot of people asking you questions of like, hey, what do you think about this stock? That being said, interesting play. We basically hit once, two, and then third time was a charm above $5, and it just ripped higher above that 1272. The initial support was at 588, ripped through that, and now looking to potentially hit that or stay above $8. If that wants to break above $8, the next target is going to be $11.50. But looking for some potential downside support again on the daily chart, we always look for is that around the 21 to 34 EMA there. So hopefully that was helpful for you there. Franklin, thanks for the info, Ken. What is your opinion on African oil with the projection GP increases? I don't know. Like oil, I think oil that I just did a video about, I think still in the short term, I think it could definitely go higher. Long term, I'm not going to be I'm going to be a little more not so bullish on that. Okay, my thing just updated. Brian, we did Fastly. What's CR? Yep, we can look at it's a Corsair, right? CRSR. Oops, not PR. This one actually looks interesting. So this has definitely run up that 21 EMA to a really overbought kind of signs here, especially on the daily chart. And now really kind of coming back, holding that 21 EMA. As long as it stays above that 34 to around that $32 range, this is still pretty much intact here. But we start seeing that 5 and 8 aggressively cross through the 21 EMA. We can get some downward selling pressure and be looking for around 28 or below. But again, this is a newer company, an IPO, so these are going to be very heavily, I won't say the word traded, but it's more aggressively on people getting in and out of it. If it doesn't work, they're just done with it. Any suggestions on books or videos to learn? Not a noob. Um, I need to redo my list for books and things like that, because a lot of the books I've recommended, they're like really hard to find. Fastly getting bought out by Cisco. Really? Okay, that's fantastic. Costco earnings. Yes, let's look at Costco. Love my Costco. Oops. Costco. Of course, it just had that wonderful special dividend here of $10. Wonderful day. Of course, now, again, Costco, if you've ever been in one, you fall in love with it and you just don't give it up and you don't go anywhere else. That being said, complete Costco bull here. Like, I love my Costco through and through, folks. Like, you can't do me wrong there. With the emotion signs out of it, looking at the chart actually still looks really good. Running into earnings, not my favorite play on any kind of stock, even though the ones I love, since this is a very long-term holding in stock, it just, sure, if it dips below some certain levels, if it really breaks lower, because again, what's the expected move for this week is around $15 for this week. So $15 we're currently trading at is basically could take us back to around 350-ish range and potentially see that hold, or to the upside, we're going to be looking for around potentially testing 360. I was looking at this, the 1272 extension, which is the purple line here. Potentially some support here, kind of falls into around the 50-day as well. Potentially going higher, if it goes up $15 from there, is going to be potentially testing, again, that Fibonacci up here, which is basically would break up to all-time high. Love my Costco, but those are some initial support lines that I'll be looking for. Brainstorm Cell, which is BCLI. Yeah, not a fan of this, my friend. Sorry, Jesus. I guess this is going to be something you can't walk on water with, because this is just not the world's best pattern here. I don't know what definitely some kind of therapeutical company, pharmaceutical company. These red down days are never pretty, and a huge gap down like this is probably missed or didn't do very well on some kind of clinical trial. Kind of building back here a little bit, but it's got a lot to recover. There's a lot of people who got hurt on this, so I don't really want to be touching this as of right now. Your thoughts on J.I.'s able to come back from the dead? I don't know, but let's take a look. Jill. Did you say Jill? Come back from the dead. No idea what this company does, but maybe. I just did a 1-for-5 split. I don't like that, actually. That's a red flag for me. I don't know what the company does. The chart looks okay, but it really needs to break and stay above that $4.34 there. Sorry. I want BA to be at 250 to 27, but I don't think it'll happen, to be honest. Well, you gotta have faith. The charts will take you. Sometimes it won't. 250 to 270. This week, I don't think that's going to happen this week, because the expected move's only about $15 this week. But 250 could be in range, potentially. Again, this is really going to be tied to a stimulus bill, ongoing positive news about the Rona and the pandemic and everything, and potentially getting some kind of deal set in place. But it has run quite a bit in the last couple weeks, really trying to break out here and potentially test some high levels. But again, this stock before everything happened was trading around $350 to $400, and now their jets are being reserviced. Pilots are getting retrained on the systems. It's going to be kind of a longer term play if you want those prices to come back in for sure. BA says thoughts on Roblox IPO. I don't know. I don't think I have an opinion on that quite yet. Earl G, what's up, my friend? SLB, is that Slumberjay? Slumberjay, I gotta get a little negative thing on them, but that's okay. I don't need to share that here. With Slumberjay, really not a wonderful looking stock. I know they're in the oil refinery business. It is the better play, I believe, with some of the oil stuff. And again, they're not mining it or drilling for it or trying to search for it or explore for it, whatever the words are. These are the guys just kind of sit on their butts and just wait for the other folks to bring in and they refine the oil for them. With that being said, $23 is a key level. If we can stay above that 23-ish dollars, potentially test 26, very key level, because again, we've been at this level previously and kind of given it all back. So we really kind of look out to potentially seeing how that plays out. Where did I? Oh my gosh, my chat is upset. Any advice on snow? So on snow, holy moly, a guacamole. I saw 2 large trades on snow go out the day before earnings. Someone bought the 350 expiration for Friday of that week. I said I'm like, if it hits 350, that's going to be insane. Is that still even, that won't be live anymore? Yeah, that was an astronomical amount of return on that. This is just crazy returns here. Let's look at so the previous high was on the day of opening, or the IPO day. Really looking at a key level here, we're hitting the 1618, which is a very key level around 287.26, which is we're within like 50 cents of that. If we want to stay above this, the next target's going to be around 500, so 497. Some short dated support's going to be coming in around 348, 350 range, but this thing has just gone parabolic and it's got really much of a mind of its own. Costco is definitely my happy place too, Alan. Looks like something just updated on here. Sorry, folks. Someone's saying RH. RH. Oh, sorry. Okay, okay. I just updated again. Sorry. What do you think about PLTR going back up to $30 this week? Royal. So I just did a video on PLTR, and can it hit $30 this week? The expected move for just this week is $3. The stock closed at 23, so it really has to break out above that band. So $30 is going to be a little bit of a stretch. Not saying that it can't do it, okay? Not saying it can't. That doesn't mean if the options makers is giving it a $3 move, doesn't mean it has to stay in $3 move. They're just saying that the probability of that happening, of staying plus or minus $3, is around 68%, which is how they dictate the standard deviation model. With that being said, basically kind of just saying it trading at $24, that would be considered a $6 move, so double that. So it'd be somewhat of a 2 deviation move potentially to kind of get above $30. But again, anything can happen in the market without a doubt. You saw how snow just took off from going to turning into a rocket ship. Do you like Docu? Seems great volume. Onto 306 call. Thanks for taking. Okay. Doc. So they had earnings, right? Yeah, they had earnings. I just sold some premium on this one. Again, this is kind of just doop trading sideways. Drink some water. Just kind of trading sideways. Nothing to really write home about. I don't think this is going anywhere, but we're hitting a key level around the 250 range, and we haven't really broken above it. Potentially, if this wants to really break through, we need to see that momentum to continue and try to break above 251 to see that really print here for us. To the downside, we're going to be looking for some initial support around 239, which was some previous tops before, but really some stronger support coming around 227 to around 220 in between that range there. D King. So, oh yeah, this is the one that has upset me the most this year. With this movement, again, we kind of had maybe a try of a V-shaped bottom, and now kind of just, I won't say stalling out, it's kind of recovering again. It hit that mark, which we talked about, I think, last week. It needs to really stay and break above that $53. We talked about it potentially just kind of bouncing around between that $53 to potentially $47, and just kind of ping pong around those particular lines, and maybe just wait for some, again, better economic news, less cases of the virus, more positive stuff from the vaccine side of things, and really potentially taking this higher to a higher level. But with that being said, we're going to be initially looking for some support around 47.19, but potentially really looking for to break above $53 there, my friend. Someone said RH, yes, Restoration Hardware. So this one has, again, the furniture, high-end furniture company. What a beautiful chart. Just like, look at this. This thing has just been grinding up higher, just chilling here, just really just taking in the profits, just not giving a hoots or hauling about anything going on here, and just really having a grand old time here, and just really just kind of grinding higher, making an all-time high just on Friday. With earnings coming out on, what day is this? On the 9th. Is it before or after the market? After the market. Options market for this one is not really great at all, but looking for potentially to run up a little bit here, maybe into earnings. Let's see. They do have weekly options. They're looking for around a move of $64. So let's look at the options. Why do I have all turned on? Let me go into, like, I think I have like 36 is a nice number. Let's see here. It looks like a lot of people potentially selling premium out here around the 520 range, which that looks kind of interesting, but it's a well over a $1,300 call. Nothing too crazy on the put side, so definitely something to watch out for. I would like to say just go, I like it long, but this is something to potentially look for some support around that 427, which is kind of falls in slightly under what the expected move is. Again, that's where the 21 and really the 34 EMA lie. Ryan, do you think airlines can rally? Yeah, I think so. I think AA can run into the next year, but again, it's really going to be tied to economic data and how everything is perceived. So you have to be really kind of keeping a close eye on that. Crazy Legs Gaming, MP, yes. MP has been coming up on my charts a little bit. I wanted to look into the stock overall a little bit more to kind of understand it a little bit better. It's some kind of like resource exploration mining kind of company. But with this kind of movement here, it's really gone up quite a bit in a very short period of time. So I'm a little, I won't say concerned. It's a newer company, and really seeing it run here a little bit, potentially testing some very key levels, and looking for, because it almost was like a SPAC, right? Like it was just doing next to nothing and just kind of just took off. And now we're really just seeing these prices coming in quite substantially here. So I'm really testing here above $24.55 to $25 could be the next overall targets there. But that is definitely something to look at. Okay, Bets, what's up, my friend? What's going good, Ken? Nothing much, just chilling, enjoying my Sunday. Can you do CRM and Apple? Yep, we can look at CRM. Of course, CRM has been in the news quite a bit due to the fact of it buying Slack, aka ticker symbol work, which some people don't agree with it, whatever. This again, CRM is a company that basically just is a enterprise software for very large scale companies. They do have some larger, smaller companies can afford their stuff, but it's a lot of the times it's very people who are like their main product is their CRM product, their customer relation management tool that they've developed over many years. With Mark Benioff at the helm of everything. But with the earnings and the overall perception of everyone not liking them buying work and paying, which they believe is a very high premium for Slack, kind of coming down, initially holding this key level around $220, which I kind of like here. But I just kind of need to see it hold this pattern just a little bit more and just really kind of hold that 144 EMA and potentially get a bounce from there, if any kind of good news. And then you wanted to look at Apple, which is a APL. Same thing kind of here. Apple, I'm a little hesitant about too, because we're just kind of been bouncing around. Like we talked about that ping pong mode where it just kind of just bounces here, comes back out, bounces, bounce, bounce, bounce. We really did not. I was really hoping for it to break above 124 to 125 this week, or I'm sorry, previous week. But now it really needs to kind of come into fruition to break out, because if it starts getting below 120 again, we're just going to be playing that ping pong game again, just bouncing around. I think Disney also this week. I don't think Disney reports this week, my friend. I think Disney just reported. I think they might have an analyst day or something like that. But yeah, Disney, of course, this is really much tied to, again, just like the airlines we talked about, really just hoping for good economic data, and it opened especially Disneyland allowed in California to open up and start having people and guests come through. Vaccine news, all that kind of stuff. But again, their Disney Plus subscriptions have gone up quite a bit. David asks thoughts on CRSP. You spell Corsair wrong with the character I propped up. The company is called CRISPR. They are a DNA company. You might be found them and found a winner by mistake. I thought you were talking about that CSCR. So again, that's the Corsair one, which I love that one as CRSP. I thought a lot of people traded Corsair gaming. So yeah, CRISPR, yeah, and I'm very familiar with this company. I think ARK Investment loves this stock a lot. I've seen them buy this quite a bit, and I've seen Kathy Wood talk about this quite a bit. Again, this is the technology of DNA, basically DNA changing and manufacturing. Really seeing the key target at that 151.09. We hit that by 2 pennies and above, kind of came back down a little bit. Initially some short support coming in around 130 and some stronger support coming between 117 to 110. But this is a beautiful looking chart. If you're in it, really enjoy this ride. If you get any kind of pullback or an opportunity to buy, the next target's going to be around $197 to $200 and going higher from there. What do you think about Apple options for calls for 130 expiring January? The monthly expiration for January. So the 130, let me look what the options are saying. 12 to $13. I think that's doable, but again, it really needs to break out of that ping pong range that we just talked about. Needs to get above that 124. That 130 is reasonable. It's going to be within the deviation move, but it needs to happen somewhat fast because January is approaching. Again, those options are less than 30 days out. Okay, it's about 40 days out from now. But we do have multiple days of being off and low volume days coming up with Christmas and the holiday thing there. Looks like I just updated again my chat. 1 second. Sorry, folks. David, what's up, David? Chewy and ATHM. Yeah, Chewy has earnings this week, right? I think someone else. I don't know if Fish was able to join the stream. I know he was asking about it earlier. With Chewy, basically, with earnings again, we're very familiar with that. That's a coin flip, lack of a better words. With that coin flip fully acknowledged there with earnings. This really is trying to potentially to break above that $75 range and really test its high to potentially even testing to $81. But some downside support coming in around $70 and even down to that $67 range there. And then ATHM, was that Anthem? That they were bought though. I'm not familiar with that one. Auto Home, okay, never seen this one before. Interesting. Really kind of a zigzaggy kind of stock here. You're just seeing that really sharp moves up and down, but the trend is still trying to go higher. It looks like they didn't do too fantastic on the quarter. We got a pretty strong bounce off that 144 EMA here on the daily side, and potentially looking for some next resistance around 98 to potentially $100 to the upside. Looks like it really is trying to break out to that new level. We do have the squeeze kind of switching from red to yellow, which I kind of like. We have the volumes on Oscillator kind of coming back from the negative territory as well. San Diego, Sam Stocks, PFE options December 18th. The FDB vaccine approves play. That is, again, a little too. Not really in my wheelhouse to basically to trade the pharmaceutical stocks in that sense of just really hoping for the FDA approval kind of thing, and that kind of the hope and dream kind of mentality. But even though I'm not saying it can't happen, like without a doubt, but I'm a little skeptical at times with that kind of stuff because a lot of humans are involved, so those can cause a lot of errors. With that being said, we have some initial short-dated support around 39.37, stronger support coming around 37.17, with a key target, if any kind of goes good data, that 42.50 to potentially even testing $46. So those are going to be basically my levels to be looking at if I was trading it. And Anthony says, NVIDIA. Yeah, we looked at NVIDIA earlier, but let's see the chart again. Yes, it's just kind of been ping-ponging around, just kind of waiting for a potential move higher. We're really looking forward to potentially test that 562 to go higher or even break down lower, but below that 515 level there. And then DM is doing another direct offering. Really? Are you serious? How many have they done? They've done like multiple direct offerings. They're just unloading those shares. I know you don't do what ETS, but have you seen MOS cannabis thoughts? Let's look. MSO. Wow. That's a beautiful chart there. It's going very high, no pun intended. Really just holding that 21 to 34, kind of bouncing around here. But that is a crazy looking chart. Like getting in on that, that's fantastic. Good trade for you, my friend. Great trade. Even an investment, honestly, it looks like. Even short dated support is going to be coming around 37, basically where the 8 EMA lies, and some stronger support coming into the 21 EMA. That's really going to be very hard to dictate any kind of movement until we start seeing some kind of pullback or some capitulation going through there. How do I join the Discord? I think I have it in the description, don't I? Or do I not? Let's see here. Discord. How do I invite people? They don't make it easy, do they? Okay, channel invites. Oh, here we go. Invite people. Invite people. Copy. Let's go here. And that's Carl. Is Carl still there? There you go, my friend. Thanks for the $5, my friend. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Are those hippos popping up? That's awesome. Thank you. Brother, can we do Apple? Yes, we can do Apple. Apple. AAPL. So depending on if you're long-term or short-term this, definitely going to be something to look out for. Which we talked about a little bit earlier in the stream. It's kind of been doing that ping pong mentality. Basically, where it bounces around here a little bit within a certain kind of box here. And a very key level, if you're bullish on this, my friend, is going to be trying to break above that 124, 50-ish range. And really some short dated and the lower band basically around 111. So we're really kind of giving it a pretty large range here of nearly $10 to really see if it gives it any kind of momentum to break out or break down. That is something to very much take a very close eye and look at. Really seeing is how it plays out. Really key indicators is going to be looking for, again, those ticks really getting above that 124 range. And again, it's going to be highly tied to any kind of positive data. Of course, everyone, the Santa Claus rally is somewhat intact, meaning that the holiday rally where everyone's going online, buying Amazon, buying iPads, buying AirPods, whatever. But those are going to be the ones that could potentially run into the rally. The one that's a little bit slightly strange, which we look on a 3-day, 3-year chart, it looks like it wants to break out. It really does. But with such low volume coming in on Friday, which was very strange for the stock like this, I think it still wants to really break out. Would be considering it long it, but if you start seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages cross through the 21 EMA here on an aggressive pattern and really break through that 110 range, I would have to call it a day and say hasta la vista, baby. I'm having to get into another stock there, my friend. But again, I hope not all your eggs are in one basket. You're a little bit on the diversified side. I hope that makes sense. Will all the new EV laws against China affect the EV stocks? I probably, again, I don't follow that industry too close, and I don't own any of those stocks, the Chinese EV stuff. I've traded them, but nothing owning them, right? But yeah, I think that they're very much at risk because there's just so much overhauling regulation to just people just not really getting on board with them, even though a lot of people have made a lot of money with them just trading them. I can share my settings, but I have to be very careful because, again, I've paid for a couple of these bands up here and a couple of things, but I will make a video explaining my setup, and I will share it in that video, I promise. OTGL away. Cyberpunk is going to be interesting to see that play out in 2021. Baba, yes, Baba. Yes, talking about Chinese companies, this is the largest one that a lot of people look at and trade. This thing with its last earnings and even with the failed Ant IPO, in the sense of the Chinese government coming in and just slashing it and just giving it the old the bear dance on it, has not been a good recipe for them. I'm really seeing some potential support around 161 to 160. But really with that 21 EMA continue to grind lower, really going to potentially creating some overhead resistance here. Really looking to see a break above 175 to 180 here to potentially really see some potential movement with Alibaba to kind of come in there. Mo and TEJ, can we look at Roku? Oh yeah, Roku. What a play, right? What a play. We are seeing that beautiful chart pattern here, kind of like I wouldn't call it like an AMD kind of thing, but more or less like a stair step kind of stock, where it kind of just moves up, stair steps, moves up, stair steps, moves up, trades sideways, and then moves up. Potentially again, that $300 range is going to be a very nice round number, and people are going to want to see that. And I think that could be potentially pumped up to $300, but that is somewhat far from any kind of support at these levels. It's very much at a very high elevated price. Not saying it's going to come down at any time soon, but basically 3 to 305 potentially could be some short dated targets. Because what is the move for this week for it? It's saying $20 this week, so that's a pretty substantial move. It's got no earnings on the board, but this thing could definitely run if it really wants to go any higher from there. With this kind of double top pattern, this thing could be pretty primed to go well past $300 this week, with some short-dated support kind of coming in around the 272, and then some stronger support coming around 250, my friend. Our options on Bitcoin and potentially 100 predictions are installing buyers during I don't trade Bitcoin, and I definitely don't trade Bitcoin option futures. Sorry. Gold, please. Yeah, we'll look at GLD. This is the Barrick Gold, which I think a lot of people had a lot more hope for due to the fact of, again, people kind of turning around and really seeing with higher inflation potentially coming, people getting into gold instead of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin has kind of taken that place, which we've kind of seen here. Again, I'm not 100% complete with that, but I do see the plan kind of looking at that. With gold kind of trading here, it's just trying to find a bottom here. It's just kind of, it's basically, imagine being in a very large room and everything is pitch black and you can't see anything, and you're just kind of feeling around looking for that light. Gold's trying to feel around it and look for that light to potentially see the floor here and really stop bleeding here. Initially, some short dated support is going to be coming around 23 to even 2260, but the overall moving averages are still aggressively pointing to the ground, and it's really much not going to want to jump in front of that train there. Do I trade full-time? Not yet, but I'm very close. Can you discuss the indicators for Tesla going to SPC? What do you expect the prices for other holdings to fall in this outflow? I haven't done too much research, to be quite honest, on how it affects other folks within the S&P 500, which we talked about earlier, which Alan brought up, as well as we can potentially see a huge run-up to December 21st. That's going to be where the funds need to be somewhat allocated into the S&P 500 to make a balanced ETF for them, because again, a lot of those portfolio managers have to create a balanced spreadsheet or balanced portfolio mimicking the S&P 500, so there has to be a lot of buying of the stock physically. So we could see a potentially large run up into December 21st and maybe see some kind of a gap down or some kind of a correction of certain percentage points in that time frame. David Left says OT Cyberpunk, any thought? I thought you were talking about the game. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Cyberpunk the game. Let's see here. OTGLY. Interesting. So this is CD Project Red, the company that is the developer for this. It is looking like it potentially could try to run here, potentially test that $31.90 to $32 range to the upside. But again, we don't have too much data on this. It's only been trading for a little bit, but not much volume. But it looks like it's definitely kind of picking up volume due to the overall release date. It looks like, I know this has been kicked back a couple times, but looking for some potential highs above 32 to test. But again, some short-dated support coming around 27 and then around 26.30 and below. Leah, what's up, my friend? What's up? What's up? How you doing? How you doing? Is that, yeah, that's one of the games coming out, isn't it? PIC pick. Oh, wow. That's again, looks like a SPAC. Yep. So huge movement. A lot of the times with these SPACs, we'll see this potentially kind of stop at $20. Which again, hit its key level here. Potentially the next level is going to be around $20.50. Kind of the same pattern that we've seen multiple times playing through here. Not sure what this company does or what SPAC or what blank check they're giving to what company. But yeah, this looks very strong here, but with some initial support around $15 and then around $14. Really strong support coming around $12.46. But again, these are very aggressive plays. I wouldn't consider these as strong stand home investments because again, they're SPAC plays. You're venture betting into these plays. Yeah, 3 days. I did get it from Steam though. I bought it on Steam. Free stuff says FB puts 1218. Interesting you say that. I saw something about Mark Zuckerberg. Just, is that guy just literally work on Capitol Hill now for the government and just being, his full-time job is now just being questioned by senators and representatives the whole time, and he's just like, oh, like, please stop. Like, it's just terrible. He's sitting at home with his little fig plant in the back and the curtains drawn back and his nice little skinny blue tie, which looks good in, but like, it's just, God bless him. Anywho's, with Facebook, kind of that same pattern that we just talked about with NVIDIA, kind of that bouncing around looking motion, even with Apple. We're really not seeing that move above 290 with any kind of a follow-through days, meaning that we're not seeing a huge pickup after the fact and really seeing it kind of carry us higher through that level. Again, some stronger support coming around 275, 274, but there's a lot of lights going on that could potentially really kicking this higher. We're seeing a lot of squeezes setting up. Let me look here on the weekly chart. Yeah, I really like it to basically some support around 267 to around 265. Potentially, if it do get an opportunity at these levels, those could be a very aggressive bounce here. As you're saying, you're going with the put side on the 218. I can see what you're trying to go for and really seeing on the chart here potentially to grind lower. But we do see a potential support around 275. What puts did you say you had? Oh, you didn't say the price or the strike price. But anything can happen to the market with. But again, the NASDAQ is coming off here a little bit. Same with the S&P 500. And the VIX climbing up a little bit here, but initially looking for some potential a bounce here or a 275 to even down to around that $270 range there. What are my current positions? It would be a very long list if I went through all my current positions. It would be quite a bit. I just flashed them there real fast. Again, that was the one I just flashed is my very short-term trading account. I have everything from BA to Val to, oh my gosh, QS. I have some SPAC plays. I have some Amazon. I have all kinds of things. And I think I have like well over 60 positions in my options and stock trading account right now. BTC is my bay. Yeah, it's up nice. It's up 1.34% there. So that's a nice little move there without a doubt here. Fastly, we kind of covered Fastly already, but it looks like someone said that they're potentially being talked to or being bought by Cisco, which is kudos to them. God bless. Things go to die at Cisco. Basically looking here to initial support around $80 to $81 with some key targets that potentially break above $90 to $91. Okay. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, my thing just updated again. I'm sorry, folks. The chat just keeps on running. It looks like a lot of people have joined. So thank you everyone for joining. I really do appreciate it. But a lot of people hitting up in the chat here. What charts are you using? That's Thinkorswim, my friend. What did Alan? Yes, I agree. NNDM is very much a speculative play. The only thing is that with NNDM, it has been doing these offerings quite a bit, and it's been somewhat driving the price down, but that's when you get these really large swings back. But again, ARK Investment and Kathy Wood have bought the stock well past or around this range of basically the $3 to $4 range, I believe, and it's really been a double for them, and it's just been a really strong, fantastic stock to say the least. Someone said McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's. It's kind of a really strange position for McDonald's as well. I think a lot of people are insinuating that they're not going to be doing too well. And again, with more strict government shutdowns and not being able to physically open the restaurants, they're saying the drive-through is not, what's the word? Not as strong as perceived. More people potentially are eating in the restaurant, and then they're not able to due to the fact of social distancing, in particular whatever state or county they're currently live or the locations in. But yeah, with McDonald's, we're going to be looking for some initial support around the 144, which kind of falls in around the 208 to 209 range. But if this squeeze does fire short, we could potentially see some break below that 208 to 209, potentially to around 205 to 207 there, with some overhead targets potentially to stay above around 215 to around 214 to the upside, potentially being some overhead resistance as well there. RNNA, can I buy 100 shares of Tesla shares tomorrow? Sure, if you want to. You can do anything you want. You're free man or woman. But what do you think about Macy's stock, about the Amazon doing now? Amazon is buying them. Amazon is buying Macy's, really? Amazon's really buying Macy's? I didn't see that. That would be, I guess, I don't want to say smart, but somewhat useful for them because, again, Amazon's tried for many years to try to get into the space of clothing. But yeah, Macy's, Nordstrom have all been stocks that have been really flying off the shelves, lack of better words, due to the fact of a flood of the reopening of the economy, retail sectors showing better numbers, the Santa Claus rally as well, and really seeing some potential higher prices here. That 1148 was a key level here, the 50 percentile move. Really looking for potentially hitting $13 to even $15 on any kind of substantial continuous of a positive movement within the economy or kind of the overall growth in that. Hexter says, you're a good person for doing this. So many people are trying to sell information, trying to help people invest in just simply awesome. You're welcome. Just that's how I feel. I've spent a lot of money many years ago on trying to get help to understand the markets, and it was very much a headache and a lot of money spent on completely useless stuff. And I just try to help crack open my head and give you any little bit of information or kind of help you potentially understand the markets a little bit better. I'm not going to promise anything that I will give you the secret key to everything. It just has to be an ongoing passion you have to have in the markets. You really have to be engaged in it. You can't just kind of pick it up and just do it. I saw something, David. What did you say? FT. Let me write that down. I like your picks, David. FTCVU. It's in the fintech space. I always love fintech stuff. That's definitely the future. Cash is still king, but yeah. FTCVU. Wow. Fintech acquisition company, 1 to 1/3 warrant expiration. Oh, so it just came out on Friday then. So the one I own is the Pershing Square one. If you're familiar with that one, David, this is the one that I own. They're on the talks. There's again speculation up the wazoo on if they're going to be buying Stripe, or they're going to be giving them a blank check, or they're bringing them public, whatever the words are, and then really potentially looking for a Robinhood. I don't know. Like, those are just some of the names that are being thrown out there. Of course, we got Airbnb earnings, or not earnings, IPO coming out on Thursday, I believe, and they're priced at between $45 to $50, but we could be seeing that substantially run at a very high rate. Because a lot of people want like that disruption in the hotel business, especially the current times that we're in. Disruption is pretty much key. Dave says Goldman Sachs 780 Tesla rating. Yeah, that's what they're projecting. They're not saying it's going to happen this week. They're just giving it a longer tailwind of maybe, I think they said 12 to 18 months. Thoughts on Bitcoin? Folks, so looking at the strict chart, Bitcoin, it's really trying to test, it hit its all-time high, something on the weekly side. So the all-time high for the Bitcoin futures is around 20,650, and we've got somewhat close to that a couple times. I don't know why I don't have an alert for that, to potentially hit those key levels. With Bitcoin, this thing is very aggressive on how it moves, everyone. So eventually, we're seeing this huge chart really just take off from the 10-12 range, and just really grind higher between that 5 and 8 moving averages, and just really propel it substantially higher here. And looking for some initial short-term support coming in around $18,983, basically the 8 EMA on the daily chart. But we've seen it spike down aggressively. Again, this is not a very slow moving thing. It moves very aggressively, and that initial support could be coming back to around that 17,643 there. So there's going to be something that we could be potentially looking for that as well, to potentially that downside level there, which is also a Fibonacci retracement level that kind of comes into play. So it's something that we want to keep a very close eye on. Again, I don't honestly trade Bitcoin due to the fact of my Bitcoin days are somewhat over with trading. It was a very nail-biting experience. I'm glad I got into it, but yeah. Mo Bedridden Line, thank you for the $5, my friend. Do you have a stock or something you want me to look at? I'm looking to go 20% into AMD tomorrow morning. Please pull on. Please don't pull on punches. Yeah, I love AMD. Love AMD. Love TSM, Taiwanese Semiconductor. Great stocks. I think it's. I learned from my long-term holds. I'm not trading these, just to be completely up there with you, Mo. I'm not trading those. Those are going to be something I don't look in for quite some times. DoorDash is coming soon as well, too. That is correct. Thank you for bringing that up, eMachines 310. You're very bullish on Mr. Bill Ackman, the Silver Fox. Yep, you have to be with a hair like that, right? Earl G says AKNA. AKNA or AM? Okay. Okay, interesting chart. Looks like it's kind of coming back from its earnings debacle here. Kind of a double bottom with some price movements that are getting a little bit higher here. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages across through the 21 EMA, but now we're kind of seeing some overhead resistance, basically kind of coming around the 105 range. Let me just do a quick fib for you there, my friend. Yeah, so it's hitting that 38.2 percentile move, so around that 104 to 105 range, and not really kind of getting out in front of it. Potential, some targets would be 107, with really looking to 110. Some short-dated support's going to be coming in around the 102, then potentially kind of coming down to 101 to $100 there. But because again, but you are seeing the parabolic SAR dots slowly grind up, which is again helping support the trend and really kind of carry it higher, kind of giving it somewhat of a cushiony bottom to kind of go up from there. Blue, what's up, my friend? Hey, hey, hey. All right, folks, this is crazy. I got 200 plus people in here, and I am not used to that. You usually have like 30, 40 people in here. I appreciate everyone coming out. I really do. TEJ, I think someone was just dropping it, maybe just kind of pumping it up, or unless they're on the Macy's board. Unless we just talked to the board member of Macy's, and they're on the phone with Jeff Bezos right now on Sunday night, and asking on how much the blank check would be to buy them. What is my year limit order for AMD? What do you mean by limit order? Like, when do I get out? My targets, my really targets, I want to see it above 100, but 106 to 127. My real target's actually at 127. But again, I have such long dated leaps in this, and I own the long term, I own stock. So those targets going to be pretty far out, around 127 to 130 for AMD. Excuse me, been talking for over an hour. But again, some short-term support. I mean, it can come back all the way down to $78, and I would add to it, honestly. So that's just my opinion on that one. What do you think of X? So yeah, all those like boring names that everyone was short selling or getting rid of and kicking it down in the dirt and curb stomping them. Now we have U.S. Steel breaking to all-time highs, gapping up like it's like a flipping Chinese EV car manufacturing play here, jumping up basically multiple 10 plus day percents and just grinding higher here. Like it's insane. I had to pinch myself multiple times when I saw U.S. Steel up at these high prices here. Really super crazy strong breakout here. On the weekly chart again, this stock has been in a consistent downtrend for the past 2.5, 3 years, and just kind of grinding lower. Built that base here around that $7 to $8 range, and now we're seeing all those longer term bag holders and the folks who are just kind of sitting and being patient on it, really kind of coming through and seeing it break above that 1470 range. Next target's going to be basically $21 here. That's going to be, again, a substantial move, but that's going to be the next overall target to the upside. Some support to the downside is going to be around $12, and then back down to around that $10 range there. So hopefully that was helpful. Thumbs up for that. What do you think of Valve? I love Valve. So I own Valve for my portfolio. So VALE. Great stock as well. Again, really the whole movement here kind of looks very much similar to what we just looked at with US Steel, really breaking out to all-time highs here and really breaking out of the 3-year chart here, which I really like, and potentially looking for some targets around $18, potentially testing $20 in the near term. Again, that's if things continue performing very well in the overall marketplace there. Tesla, yeah, we haven't really talked about too much about Tesla. That's what's strange. So Tesla on the daily chart, holy moly guacamole with Tesla, right, folks? Looking for initial break. I don't know why this is so low here. Let me go here. Replace, thank you. Looking for, again, to really try to break above that $600 range. We've seen it touch there multiple times here, but not really break through. We hit that basically nearly that Fibonacci number around that 607-ish range, but came right back down and kind of traded sideways. Didn't break the trend if you're looking here on the daily chart, because it's still holding that 5 and 8 moving averages. So the 5 and 8 moving averages is something that we use as aggressive momentum-driven indicators to really see how this goes. So really looking for this potentially to break above 609 and even maybe test 650, to be quite honest with you. But as Alan, as one of the another great, fantastic folk within the our chat was hinting and looking at, is like we could potentially seeing a pullback around the December 21st. That's when the buying could run out. The tap could run dry, as they call it. We could get last call. We could get cold feet. We could get store closed. We could get whatever kind of metaphor you want to put in there when people potentially see a lot of that buying drying out. We did see that same kind of really uproar movement with that announcement of the 5-to-1 split, which people thought they would get free money or whatever. I don't, again, no, they had free ice cream or something, which would have been nice. I love free ice cream. I love ice cream altogether. But anyways, with the 5-to-1 split, looking for, again, a huge run up like we saw previously here that could last, again, for another another 2 weeks at least, if we don't get any kind of negative news for Elon tweeting and the SEC has to give another slap on the wrist or whatever. But yeah, definitely an interesting time to be a Tesla shareholder. Alan says space. Yeah, what the flip-flop is going on over there? Like, it's so I own long-term leaps in this. Really looking for this one to break above 30, Alan. I'm really been waiting. I've been so patient. I've been holding. It doesn't seem very long, but I've been holding since like March. I traded the space was one of my first stocks that was like a SPAC and really ran up out of like crazy out of nowhere. But looking for some initial holding here around 29 to 30, potentially to break higher from here, with some key targets of trying to break to 35. Some short-term support's going to be coming around 27, and then more support coming around 25 to around $21 to the downside. But this thing, with the overall momentum of SpaceX and NASA really helping progress this stock, of course, them training a lot of the astronauts and going forth, I think this definitely could run substantially more. Joel, Ken, what's up, my friend? My bad, I was tuning in. I was watching college basketball. Hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you stopping by. You're more than welcome, yeah. At PS Love Very Yum. What was that, David S? We did D King. D King needs to break above $53 and needs to stay above 47. Nicola, please. Let's see here. Nicola. This is something like, again, I would love to short this, but I can't touch it with the 10-foot pole. Actually, not with the 10-foot pole. I couldn't touch this with like a 70,000-foot pole. With this movement, again, it still doesn't make too much sense to me. Didn't have a good quarter. The GM deal is not great at all now. They're basically walking out of the door, burning the thing down, with some initial support kind of coming in around $18. If you really want to play the contrarian bet and really just potentially curb stomp some folks and really surprise them, I think we could see a potential support around $18 to $17 and maybe see a run up to $22 to $23. But this is more or less just trading opportunities. Like, I don't want to invest in this stock at all. Like, I really don't want to honestly touch it. I just have too much bad things going on there for me. Oh, they have a test flight on December 11th. Nice. I didn't know that. Okay, I love buttered pecan. I'm gonna go with, like, I love any kind of coffee flavored ice cream. Um, love the mint chocolate chip. Um, and just like honestly a good excuse me, a good vanilla bean with some hot fudge. Can't go wrong with that. Oh, very good foods. Yes, very good foods. You talked about that one previously, haven't you? Why is it okay? Chat's going super fast. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's a great trade there. Great trade there, David. As always, David S. Nice. That is. I always forget. I think I added this one. Maybe I maybe had an order out, but I didn't get filled in it. I don't remember what I did, but I know I put it on a list and I put in something. But this thing, yeah, that looks fantastic. Yeah, Carl, we did talk about that. We did talk about Chewy. We talked about Chewy potentially testing $81, but it does have earnings, so you have to be very careful. So we could be some potential support around $70 to the downside. Mm. Do, 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 do. Snow, Sir James. Yeah, snow is something that I was. If I was a cartoon, my jaw would have dropped to the floor on seeing this about face and this reversal coming in on after its earnings. Absolutely insane. Coming into exactly that 618 Fibonacci move at 387, basically hitting it by a couple cents here. Really strong move here. Gone parabolic. It's going to be very hard to kind of give some kind of technical analysis on this. That $400 range is going to be pretty much in sight there. If it wants to pull back, we're going to be looking for some initial support around 348. Let's just call it 350. AQB. We talked about AQB a little bit in the beginning of the stream. Yeah, it's going to be something hard that I can't really. Again, it's gone parabolic as well as we just talked about with snow. If it really wants to break above $8 and continuing higher, the next target is going to be $11. My only concern is that I think I won't say the party's over, but we are seeing, if you're trading it, a lot of volume coming in the past couple days here. Not meaning it doesn't need to dry up or anything, but just being a little bit hesitant of if we do get a little bit of a pullback, those people who have been not have the strong diamond hands or have the understanding of what the stock does and they're just trading it for a day trade, we could see some substantially selling going in there and potentially see it go below $5. We do have some support around that $5-15 range though. NIO, yeah, I definitely, I kind of like NIO just to be a contrarian bet play, like Nikola, just really is kind of betting on just people being wrong and just being on the opposite end of it and just really taking in the rewards for that. But this being said here, if we do see the 5 and 8 moving averages cross to the 21 EMA and really break these other technical levels here and really not stay above that $41.50 to $42 range, we could be seeing some potential downsides to potentially hit $35 or below. But that being said, if we get a really strong bounce here, we could be potentially testing that $52 range there again. But this is a very much another aggressive, heavy stock to be very careful about. And this is something I'm not going to be buying short-term options with this. I'll be trading the stock or maybe some leaps in this. This is going to be a little bit too risque. Hex, I saw Hex a lot. So Hex, another stock that has been really running on here. This falls into the penny category, which I don't really trade very often or really touch at all. But again, this stock was $8.40 way back when, and it's kind of fallen all the way down to 35 cents. And now really kind of coming back into the large play of things with earnings coming out on the 14th. So not this week, the following week. Really looking for a potential move higher. Again, some initial short-term support coming around $1, and some longer support coming around 87 cents there. But this thing could run to a very high level in the sense of running up to potentially the $1.88 to $2.25 there. Do you like tickling? I love Fibonacci retracements, yes. GME, yes, we look at GME. Of course, that is GameStop. They also have coming out with earnings this week. We have it at it looks like, is it A before or after? It's after the market closes on Tuesday, it looks like. Again, this thing has been a very large movement in the space of Wall Street bets. Like Wall Street bets has been all over this. Not as much as PLTR, which we'll talk about next after this one. It looks like a lot of people are asking about that one as well. But looking for some potential break above 1736. The move for GME for the week is around $4.50. So that's a pretty substantial move for a stock that's only trading around $16 to $17. So basically looking for some initial support kind of coming in around the $13 range, even down to that $12 range, basically kind of coming in where that 50-day SMA kind of comes in, where that red line, and potentially if it does break above that, we're going to be potentially looking for $20 plus. Again, doesn't mean it has to break that range. This the options market makers are saying it's going to be potentially have a move of $4. So pretty aggressive. The IV is a pretty high level, so definitely one to watch out for. Maybe very ripe to sell some premium in. So a lot of fun going on there. Someone says MU leaps. Yeah, MU has been a rocket out of a bat out of hell here. Like hitting a key level here of the 1272 extension at $74 to $75. With some longer dated leaps, we can look at those as well. So longer dated leaps is well over 365 days. So we're going to be jumping into January 2022. Some leaps that I would be particularly interested in is looking between that $90 to $100 range. Especially looking at the $100 range is going to be very keen for me, especially if you start hitting these price targets, continue to grind higher. So honestly, that is actually a good recommendation. Whoever that was, I didn't see your name pop up. I just saw the chat fly by. And I'll just write that down for a great little a way of looking at that. Looks like someone donated $5. Carl, you're welcome. Thank you, my friend. Hopefully I got to your chart. I think you were talking about Chewy, correct? Thank you for the $5. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that. I promised PLTR. Let's do PLTR. Of course, PLTR has been the number one stock that I've seen requested. The number one stock I've seen all over Wall Street Bets has been astronomical on just the movements that we've seen. And just really, I called it a pump and dump kind of scenario because Citron was just sitting in their office in LA or wherever they're at. I think they're in LA. And just watching all these people that don't know, no offense, I know a lot of people know here on the chat, you guys are all experts and well knowledged in options and just trading, and just the folks who are just like got onto that FOMO train, that chugga chugga choo choo train, and just rode this, not even a train, it was basically a rocket ship that just took us to these really astronomical levels here. And the sad thing is, stocks and rockets do run out of gas, and we did run out of gas. We had to come back down, land on a barge out in the ocean, on landing, and refill that rocket ship to potentially go higher again or hit the $26 level and kind of come back down. The key target for me is if it can break above 26.17 to the upside, because again, some downward support is going to be coming around $20. So that $20 is kind of a looming number that a lot of people are just kind of waiting for, and potentially is going to see on how it plays out. Again, guys, thank you guys for everyone for coming out. I've never had this many people show up for a live stream. I really do appreciate it. Will H is SBE and JMA, please. Thank you. Let's see here. You said SBE. This is the company that does like the charging stations, right? It's like a SPAC or so, it's spin-off SPAC. Yeah, this looks good. Like it hit that 21 EMA, looking to print higher here. Looking, if it breaks above 32, we're potentially looking for some targets up around 36 to 38 to potentially test those parabolic SAR dots that could be potentially falling down here. But some support, if we start seeing it break below 25 to $25 and seeing the moving averages aggressively point down, we could see some initial support coming in around 22 or even the $17 range. Guys, you guys are just killing it. Carl for another 99 cents. My gosh, thank you, my friend. That's it. Says Microsoft's going to Jupiter. Let's see here. I'm sorry, the chat's going so fast right now. I can't even. What's going on here? Yeah, Microsoft has been in a very weird range as well. So if we look at Microsoft here, it's just kind of been bouncing around here and just kind of trading sideways here a little bit. Just waiting for a break above that 225 or a break below $205 here. But really just sitting on your hands and just kind of waiting for the potential play, just selling premium at the same time. David S, thank you for $5. My gosh, thank you guys. Timo, 99 cents. Thank you guys. Wow. You guys have any stocks you want me to talk about? If you guys are donating, I really do appreciate it. That means a lot. Zoom symbol ZM. Yeah, look at Zoom. Zoom is something I don't want to short, but it's just something that's kind of been, I don't think it's going to be going anywhere, but I think it's just kind of somewhat, I don't like to use the word overvalued. But even with the last earnings, it has kind of sold off here. I'm looking for some potential resistance coming in around 437. But if this has a pretty strong support level around that 375 and 400, which we've seen multiple times break out and hold on the way down. So this being said, we just really want to see that the purple line and white line, which is the 5 and 8 EMA on the daily chart, kind of start curling to the upside here and potentially cross through the 21 EMA. But the key point, it has to have staying power behind it. So the staying power behind it has to really move higher between that 21 EMA there. Randall. Oh, okay. You have SYY. Yeah, for sure. Thank you again for another $2, my friend. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is Cisco with the S. So this is the food supply company or trucking company, right? And this is not the Cisco network communication company. So this again, super strong. Looks like it had a great quarter here. Popping up here again. I don't think this is on a lot of people's radars, to be quite honest. Like this is kind of a, no offense there, my friend, but like kind of a boring company, which is totally fine. You can make a lot of money in these boring companies. Key level that we saw break out is at $72.89 here. And if this momentum wants to continue, the next target's going to be around that 85.65, which we've seen previously before the pandemic and everything. But that is a very strong move in the last couple days here. Doesn't mean it's going to sell off and come back down or anything like that, but really looking for some targets to kind of see potentially kind of slow down here a little bit. But again, some short dated support coming around $72 to around 71, but with some targets looking for 85. It can come all the way down to potentially the 34 with this short-term trend to be really much still intact. David S says FCX. FCX, again, this is a Freeport McMoran. Wow. David, you're coming back with it again. Wonderful looking chart, dude. This is just a continuously climb higher here. You kind of just buy the 8 EMA or the 21 EMA, which is around $21 to $22, and you just kind of ride that thing up. That's a beautiful looking chart there, my friend. Mohammed, can you please take a look at analysis? Oh, wow, a lot of things are coming in. Look at Riot support and resistance for sure. So Riot is a direct correlation of Bitcoin, right? So basically Bitcoin's up nearly 2% today. So I think this could easily run and move Riot up just because on the correlation between that, Mohammed. So looking for potentially hitting $11.25 to be some overhead resistance, and then some downside support coming in around $8.33 to around $7.85 to the downside. Both those levels are Fibonacci retracements. But the levels that we could potentially looking at if the trend wants to really continue is going to be around that $6.67, but with some longer dated overhead coming in around $11.25 to $12. Because again, if we switch all the way out to the weekly side to kind of give you a better picture here, this thing was all the way up at 46 when Bitcoin was at 20,000. Not meaning that it's going to be going to zero here, but this thing is definitely something to keep a very close eye on. I think 1125, if Bitcoin can continue to rise higher, is something to kind of play. Christopher, thank you for the $5. What about Disney and UNH? That's United Healthcare, right? So the Disney, again, full disclosure, I have long-term shares in this. It's been in my account for many, many years. This thing looking like it wants to really, it's hitting an all-time high. So if you look here on the weekly side, Disney, and we actually break this down to the monthly side, this is the highest priced stock it's ever been in its lifetime. And the parks are closed, sports is basically closed, and the cruise line business is closed, but it's still at an all-time high targets due to the fact of the Disney Plus. The Disney Plus has literally saved this company, I believe, and this really has helped it really what it's currently doing. Looking for, again, it does have an investor day, I believe, sometime this week, Christopher, so look out for that. I'm looking for some initial short-term support around 150, and then some longer-dated support around 143, around the 21 EMA to, by longer dated, I mean by a couple weeks to a couple months. But some really strong support coming in around the 137 there. But again, some targets we're going to be looking at is that 173 is going to be the next Fibonacci retracement from what we're currently looking at. And then you want to look at UNH. Of course, this is an interesting one. I haven't looked at this chart for a while. Huge move up on here again. I think it's when the election was taking place here. Kind of had a cup here. Again, if you're familiar with like a chart pattern, it's called a cup and handle. Kind of having a cup here, potentially building a handle out around that 350 range, and potentially going higher from there. Let me do this fib for you here, my friend. Oh, click here, please. potentially looking for to test that 367 level to the upside, and even trying to break those short-dated parabolic SAR dots here, which is around that 358 to 360 range. Some short-dated support is going to be coming in around 340, with some little bit stronger support coming around 334 to 329 there, my friend. So hopefully that was helpful. And again, thank you for the $5. And you guys are coming at it strong, folks. Thank you guys for giving. So you guys are so grateful. Thank you. I'm buying a small position into GIX, G Capital, 2 speculative SPACs. Tell me if you see anything. Buying a 2 small G. It's like, how long has it been trading though? I hope that it has some information on there. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything jumping on the screen because it looks like someone has requested this before because I have fibs on it. But really looking again, these SPACs, as long as it stays above like $10, it's still somewhat of a fair play here. But we are seeing that a lot of consolidation around that $10.22. With a lot of these SPACs, if more people get around it and more people start looking at it and start seeing at it, looking for a potential break of its high around $10.60 and potentially running up to 11.20 there from there, Alan. So again, I have to look into what kind of technology is this, what kind of play is this? There's just so many SPACs, to be quite honest with you. I just haven't been having a hard time to follow and remember on what SPAC is doing what and so forth. I did see someone say about CVS, and I actually love CVS going to go higher again. This thing is a beautiful looking chart that we saw basically like we saw with UNH, kind of that cup here, and potentially looking for a strong breakout above that $76 range from there. Again, I think the guy said it was about a 74 or higher, but we have some short-dated support coming in around $71, but with some substantial support around $67 for CVS there. And wow, guys, you guys are killing it today. Thank you, guys. You guys are really came in strong with the views today. Wow. I'm gonna try my best to keep up here. There's no way in God's green earth I'm gonna be able to look at this all. I'm usually, again, there's only like sometimes 30 or 40 people in the chat. Now it's 10 times that amount. Like, you guys are coming up fast. I saw some raid. Yes, looking at CVS, we can look at its competitor Rite Aid. Kind of that same kind of pattern here. The only thing is Rite Aid doesn't actually have a what's it called? Insurance company attached to it. But again, it is making a very fabulous recovery as well. Alan, I'm gonna add it to my list for sure. I'm writing it down right now. I have about 40 different stocks that I've written down here, quite a bit, with so many people kind of coming in here and just showing the love here. I saw someone saying Snapchat. Yeah, look at that Snap. I like Snap long term, honestly, especially like Snapchat. I love pins. Really hitting another key level here, making an all-time high just last week. Really just continued grinding high here, living off its overall last quarter, making it profitable, and just seeing continuously grind higher here, hitting that 21 EMA on the daily chart and just kind of coming back here and looking for some potential movements higher above 46.95 here. And really seeing it potentially test $50 in the near term with some more aggressive targets, potentially looking for around $63 to the upside there. We talked about snow. Snow is in a completely rocket ship territory. Like, it hit a Fibonacci number and just stopped there. So basically potentially looking for it testing $400 potentially and breaking out above that, but that next target really needs to break and stay above 387. But we have some short-dated support coming in basically around that 320 range. I know that this has just been crazy bounced around here quite a bit here, so something to kind of look for there. Oh, another 420. Should I short ACAB? ACAD or D? Should I short this? I don't know. So first of all, full disclosure, I hope this doesn't offend you. I do terrible at shorting things, and especially going long or short anything in the pharmaceutical business unless you have some kind of knowledge or just more research intense kind of stuff. This is definitely something to be very careful about. It's kind of hitting, I wouldn't call it a double top here, but it's looking like it did have some overall pressure around that $57 to $48 range. If we do see the 5 and 8 moving averages start aggressively pointing down and start seeing the ticks below the 21 EMA here, so if it starts breaking below 52.86 and actually closing below that, that's when we could see some selling pressure kind of coming in and seeing some movement below to potentially test $50. But then again, that being said, let me just do a quick fib here for you. Yeah, so look at that. That 78.6 percentile move there, my friend, is basically coming into that 21 EMA. And we've seen that kind of bounce here before. It doesn't have earnings, anything on site, so you're basically looking for a slow grind lower or some kind of testing of the movement going forth and seeing if there's some kind of clinical trials. Again, I don't know what the company does directly or what kind of drugs or what kind of research they're in, but looking for, again, 52, 58 would be a potential support level. But if we start seeing some pressure on that and seeing it sell through, we could really see some lower prices coming in, basically around $50 to around $47. But on the same side, if it holds here, builds a base, we could see some targets potentially test its highs around 55 to 57. Al Franklin, thank you for the $5, my friend. Wow, you guys are killing it today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. Alan saying FSR, should I hold or sell? What's F? Is that the Fisker one? So it's another SPAC. It's an early development company. Depending on what your time horizon on it was, like, it's a worthwhile speculative play bet. If you're putting your whole account into it, I would say no, don't do that, please. That's just not going to be well diversifying your account and just really putting too many eggs in one basket. Because if that basket falls, all those eggs are going to be cracked. You want to have some eggs in your pockets. You want to have some eggs in your sleeve. You want to put some eggs on your hat. So just in case if you do fall, you don't have to crack all your eggs. So if you're a Little Red Riding Hood and you have your little basket, you want to be very careful with that. But with this one, we have some initial support coming in around $16.67, kind of lying with a 618 and the Fibonacci retracement and the 21 EMA here. So that's going to be some initial support coming through here. If it does want to break through that, we have some pretty strong support coming in between $15 and $14.50. That being said, this is going to move around very aggressively. So you have to be you have to be kind of ready for that aggressive movement, or B, you just won't be able to sleep at night if there's this really aggressive movement up, down, left, and right. So, but again, hopefully this was helpful for you, my friend. Let's see here. I see David S. Thoughts on Beam, hold or sell? Man, you guys are coming with a lot of these therapeutics. Holy moly, David, you must be like raking in the cash every single day. Man, your charts are on point, my friend. We have a key target coming in around $62.22. We're very close on hitting that level here as we currently talking on this very aggressive pattern that we're looking at here. Yeah, it's hitting on the overbought sign. Again, I'm not sure what this company does, but it's hitting on the overbought volumes on oscillator. Let me look on the weekly side. Really coming close here. On the weekly side, if it breaks that parabolic SAR dots here, that could potentially break above that 62 and really run up to potentially $67 to $70. So if you, let's say, I want to give you a scenario. So let's make it easy. If you had $1,000 in this and you just invested $1,000 and you've made at least 2x, at least probably, or at least 30%. That is definitely something I would just take my initial investment off the table and maybe a little bit extra more, and just kind of letting the rest run. But this is just a fantastic move there. That is a beautiful looking chart. But again, something to really look out for there. Franklin, should I hold or sell FSR? I think we just did that, right? This is your second donation? You didn't have to do that. I think I answered your question, didn't I? Can I refund you? How do I refund you? I don't know if I can do that. I think I didn't. I answer your question? I thought I did. Yeah, so basically with Fisker, like again, key support around 1667. Looking for this potentially to hold here. But these movements move very fast here, so be very careful with that. Again, we just talked about it, so hopefully that just was maybe delayed there. Looks like David asked, and a lot of other people are talking about MMEDF. I know if Alpaca's listening, he's a happy camper with this one. I know a lot of folks on our Discord has been trading this and investing in this. This has been a nice little return here. Continue to grind higher, potentially looking for some targets above $2.15 here, and looking for that potentially grind higher, because again, we're seeing that kind of maybe a double top, kind of a very short cup here, and maybe a breakthrough to the upside here. But again, on the short dated side, we're going to be looking for some support around 150 to around 144, and then some stronger support coming around 119 to 120 to the downside if we get any kind of very aggressive selling to those levels there. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like BB. Do you mean like BlackBerry? Yeah, BlackBerry's been acquired. Again, this is the stock, which is, again, there's only 300 people in here. So the next video I'm going to be working on is basically looking at Wall Street Bets pumping up BlackBerry. And there's a couple charts of them showing a move up to $60, which, again, BlackBerry, this is on a monthly chart, used to trade at $148. Not saying it's going to get to that range or at all, but with that very aggressive movement that we've seen in the stock and what the folks on Wall Street Bets can do, we can definitely see some very aggressive moves to the upside. In the short term, some targets we're going to be looking at is around $9.11, and then some initial support around $7.75, even coming back down to around that $6 to $6.50 is still going to be a very strong level to kind of see the chart still really play out there. But yeah, definitely to be something to be very much mindful about there. We did talk about Space Abroad before. We talked about NNDM as well. NNDM is something that's be a little bit of a spec play. Be very careful with that. They've been doing a lot of direct offerings, which brings the price down, but it has been kind of an ongoing ladder climb with that. I think BB is a nice play without a doubt. We did talk about MP, and that's very strange that everyone's bringing that one up. So again, I'm not familiar with this. It actually came out maybe like 2 or 3 hours before I started the live stream on looking at MP, because someone on the Discord messaged me. But something to look at, of like, it's like a new age eco-friendly like mining company. Like, again, I haven't looked into the company, but the chart looks really, really nice here, actually, with a huge gap up multiple days, having the 5 and 8 moving averages continue to climb higher here. This looks like a very good looking chart here. Let me just look at the fibs here. We go to the aggressive standpoint. Whoops, click. Some key targets to the upside would be around $28.54 to around $33.60. So those are going to be something the targets are going to be looking at. If MP can grind higher, I think a lot of momentum is behind it, with a lot of people talking about it, and I think we could get some movement on that. Some short-term support is going to be coming around $21.39, with some longer-dated support coming around 18 to around the 17 range. So be very mindful of that. Definitely the stock that can move big or move big up or down. So again, very new, doesn't even have any quarterly earnings on the books here. So be very careful with that. Not going to be putting in, again, all your eggs in one basket. Wow. I'm exhausted. You guys are killing it today, guys. Thank you, everyone. Looks like okay. Someone said workhorse. So that's one thing I wanted to cover, and see many people talk about this. Workhorse, of course. A lot of people who's heard about the EV stuff. This is supposed to be the play that was supposed to get the $1 billion contract from United States Postal Service. That's still in lieu. Again, it's the government, so this could take ages to work out and really see any kind of potential movement here. But this is just something that you have to be very careful about, because again, we are seeing some aggressive patterns coming in here. We are seeing the 5 and 8 potentially cross through the 21 EMA, and we could see some further downside if it doesn't hold to around that $19 to $20 range as well, because again, some overhead resistance really strong around $23 here. So very careful on that. If we do see a bounce here with the 5 and 8 here, potentially looking for around $25 to $26 to potentially see some next potential resistance at those levels. James Powell, thank you, my friend, for the $5. Thank you. Do you have a stock you want to look at or something like that? I do appreciate the $5 tremendously. Thank you. STPK. Okay, James does right. He wants LCA, AAL, GPS, and FCell. Sure. My pleasure. FSCA. Forget what this one is. This the golden nugget one? I always forget this one. Is this the EV battery one? I always forget the two mixed up. This thing looks wonderful. Like, wow, what a move here. Really breaking above that $20.62 range. If this wants to continue, we're going to be looking for some targets around $26.47. Really some shorter dated targets around trying to break about $24.50 to $25. Support coming in again around $20 and then around $18.58. And then substantial support coming around $17. Basically, the $18.50 to around $17 is going to be your support to the downside. And then AAL, which is American Airlines, has had a large move higher as well, with, again, a lot of the good news and so forth going through here, and really seeing that 1686 target being met, which is a Fibonacci number. Previously, we saw this could gap up to $19 to $20, which I think could happen with the momentum that we're seeing here in the overall markets here. Just again, remember this is going to be very heavily tied to if we get a stimulus bill and so forth moving from there. And then looking at those particular targets going from here to the downside, support's going to be coming around $14.25 to around $13.50 there. And then GPS, which is the gap, I believe. They had a horrible quarter, I believe. Sold off quite a bit here, but came in, support here around the 50 EMA here, and also a Fibonacci retracement, which is 50 percentile move. Is not a Fibonacci number, but it is a replacement here. But we are seeing it potentially kind of curling here. With that large move down, I want to wait for a couple days maybe even a couple weeks here to kind of potentially see if this base can stay above $20. If we start seeing the 5 and 8 start curling through the 21 EMA, we could potentially test $24 once again. And then last but not least, you said FSAL, which it's going to be hard for me to talk about this one. This has just been completely parabolic here. Short-term support coming around $6.61, basically down to $6.50, with the next targets around $9.71 there. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful there. James. Oh, Benjamin, what's up, my friend? Positive on the weekly calls in NTC. Do I sell it? So that's Intel, if I remember right. INTC. Yeah, kind of making a larger move higher as well. This is a beautiful looking recovery here. The only, I think you're very intelligent on seeing what you're looking at here, because we've seen it try to break above that 200 EMA a couple times previously. Doesn't mean it has to fail here, but just being very mindful at those levels there. But looking at this potentially to stop at that $52 to $52.50 range to potentially once they bottom out, but really looking for some initial profit taking. But that being said, if we do get some continuous movement, because again, the RSI and the volume zone oscillator are looking very strong, this definitely could potentially run to $55 if the overall semiconductor space cohort continues to drive higher, especially with the NASDAQ really driving that school bus to some higher prices there. I've seen GOCO, a Good Health Inc. Interesting play. Looks like a newer IPO, which has kind of been selling off here lately. Looks like it had its first quarter here. Not too well here. Looks like a potential double bottom here around that $10 and like $10-ish range. I'm not sure what the company does. It looks like it's in the healthcare space. The Good Company. I don't know if this is not Good RX company, right? I always get these two mixed up. There's so many stocks right now that I'm tracking here, but this is looking for some, again, I don't like to draw trend lines, but this is kind of helping you emphasize on what we're looking at here. We're really just seeing this really just kind of grind lower here, and really just to see what the overall moving averages. You can really see this with the 200 and the 144 moving averages, really kind of just pointing down to an angle here, and really just potentially, I'm not saying we can see a bottom here, but that $10 range is something to kind of keep an eye out for. But that being said, we do have some selling pressure that has come in multiple times. Once we kind of get above that 55 EMA here, which we saw here at 1535, here again, which is the white teal line here at 1320, and potentially here at $12.40 here as well. So that's something to look out for there. You guys are killing it today, guys. I'm going to do a couple more. I've been streaming for over 2 hours. Guys, I cannot tell you enough on thank you for all the love and the support for this live stream. This has been fantastic. We can look at, it looks like, okay, sorry. Let's see here. We talked about PLTR. I think we talked about PLTR enough. No offense, my friend, but this has just been a stock that I'm kind of done talking about for a little bit. OSTK. Looks like someone saw that. Overstock. Okay, yeah, Overstock. Did they get in Bitcoin again? Did they move some of their cash into Bitcoin? This is what they had a huge movement previously during that Bitcoin bubble. If we go to the weekly, yeah, where was that? Yeah, right here. This is a monthly chart. So when Bitcoin was huge, they were accepting Bitcoin or doing something, and this thing had a tremendous run higher and really kicked this things off here. But let me go back to the weekly here. That being said, with this one, it looks like it's trying to bottom here and trying to potentially level off here and seeing some movement going through here. Looks like, what is going on here? This thing is looking like it potentially try to stay above that $67 range. That's going to be kind of creating some of overhead pressure, but we are seeing support here around the 200 EMA, which is around 50 bucks, and some support around $60 there. So looking at those key levels to potentially hold and really see this potentially go forth, and the key level to break out is around $67 to $68 there. Gidhan, thank you for the $5, my friend. YTRA, what time expected the next reserve? I've never heard of that stock. That's a new one, my friend. Vatican Online. What in the heck is this, my friend? Okay, this is not in my wheelhouse normally, due to the fact of it's very much coming down to like a penny stock time frame. But we can look at the fibs here for you. So the low here, it has broken past the 50% retracement, which is a good sign for continuous momentum. But the only concern is that we are hitting some very high elevations on the overbought between the volume zone oscillator and the RSI levels here. We are potentially looking for the next key level, which is a very key level, is at $2.57 to potentially be hit here. It looks like even in after hours trading on Friday, it was a little bit more elevated there, but initially looking for $2.57 with a potential run up to $3 plus here, with some short dated support coming into around $1.80 to $1.75, with some stronger support kind of coming in around $1.44. Yeah, this is a very, very very fast moving stock. So be very careful with that, my friend. So in the next few weeks, it's going to be very difficult because, again, it has run just like a substantial amount in a very short period of time. But yeah, looking for those Fibonacci numbers, they kind of potentially guide you on what to expect around those time frames. With, again, it's a penny stock, so you do be very careful with that. It has seen a lot of momentum in this stock, which, again, I'm not sure exactly what the company does, but this thing looks like it has had a lot of FOMO in it. Tanya Adcock saying Planet 13 to Planet 13. Okay, yeah, this is that marijuana stock, right? This thing, it definitely has taken off. I know that one the financial education guy has made a lot of statements about this. He actually had the CEO on, I believe. But this one has been a lot of support's going to be coming around that $3.93 to basically a little above $4. But this thing has just been taking off due to the overall potential legalization of marijuana nationwide on a federal level, I believe. But I'm a little skeptical about this because, again, I don't know the company, but on the chart, it potentially could test $6 and even run up to $9.27. But fundamentally speaking, I don't know. I would need to know more about the stock as well on that sense, because, again, when you're diving into this, you really care about debt. You care about cash flow, again, because, again, it's still federally illegal to have to sell drugs. To see this really play out. But again, it does have a lot of support around $3.97, but I don't know if it's the best marijuana play in my book. We did Fastly. Fastly really needs to break above $90. What's Lil Auto Incorporated? What is Inc? What is that? What's the ticker symbol? Please stop spamming it, D Nice. Not very nice to do that, D Nice. A ZM with lockdowns. Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. But something with those lockdowns, especially with Zoom, I think it's kind of what already priced in here. I don't know if we're going to be getting a complete lockdown, but something to kind of be well aware about on the overall viewpoints. Again, I don't think a lot of people are going to be traveling as much as they used to be, especially with like just the ease of using Zoom to go do meetings and how easy it is to share. And seems like everyone has good microphones now and understands on how to use the basic parameters of a GoToMeeting or Zoom or any kind of like a conference telecommunication. So I think it's a great looking stock. I don't know about at these prices though. That being said, we have some stronger support around $400 there. LI. So this looks like a Chinese EV company play here, or a car company play. This is something I don't like to see. We have very aggressive 5 and 8 moving averages pointing down here. Is basically looking for a break below this low here around $30 to potentially go lower to around 27 to 25. But that being said, we're going to be looking for some initial support here. The 21 and 34 is usually considered somewhat of a buying or support range. So it can stay in the $32 to $30 range and not break in or below those ranges. This could be potentially creating a base here or creating somewhat of a protective run up to potentially jump higher again. But again, this is going to be heavily tied to the overall catalyst for legislature that's being passed around in Congress, so forth there. But definitely something to be very, very careful about, because again, it's going to be a little bit on the speculative side because you're really taking the opposite bet. Because again, a lot of people have played that FOMO run up here, and now we're seeing kind of that profit taking and that's really bleeding kind of coming in there. I'll do a couple more. I'm going to call it a night, my friends. I'm getting a little bit late here. It's a little bit. It's 11:30 here. Oh my gosh. Whew. I need to get to sleep, my friends. Get my beauty sleep. BA, do a couple more, and then we'll call it a night here. I did see we can do big as well. So BA looking to hold at least above the 208 to 210 range is going to be my support level. And looking for some short-term support around 225, which we initially saw some give back previously in the chart here. And then looking for some potential targets around 240 break to 250 to the upside. Again, the stock used to be $400 to 350, and that's when is very much it had the airline problems. Like it had multiple crashes. It was being investigated. All that stuff is basically behind us now, on the sense of like, hey, the pilots are being retrained on the simulators. The software updates and fixes are being put onto the airlines and the airplanes, the 737s. But yeah, this is going to be definitely an interesting play as well. So the other one I saw was a lot of people asking for big. Is that big lots? Ooh. Missed out on the earnings or something like that. Yikes. I don't like to buy the day after earnings just like this, because I like to give it a couple days to kind of let the news get out to all the people who own this and everything. David S. and Alan, thank you guys so much for always the support and coming out, and definitely thank you for joining the live stream. So with big, looking for some initial support here around $45. Even if it breaks lower here, that $45 would be very much somewhat of an support here. But initially, yeah, not going to be a huge fan unless we start seeing some support kind of coming through here. And by support, it needs to kind of build a base here. I just don't want to be just going out and just buying it straight up. I saw some INO. This is something also too that is, again, it's really much of a vaccine play right now, right? And seeing that movement kind of coming through here and hoping on a vaccine really to burst out higher again. We always call it Monday vaccine days because we'll see on how the overall market takes off on the markets is really kind of going up there with seeing that potentially play out here. With that being said, we have some really strong support coming around $11.50 here, and really looking for some potential targets if it does want to run to $16 to $18. But to the downside, we're really looking for that double bottom, potentially triple bottom here around $9 ish range. Guys, on that note, my throat is running dry. I'm sorry, folks. We'll be doing some more live streams sometime this week, most likely Wednesday. And we are for sure doing a live stream on Friday because that's going to be my special birthday live stream. And hopefully you guys can all make it out for that. We're going to be eating cake, maybe a cupcake, blowing some balloons, and just having a grand old time on that one, guys. And I thank you guys so very much for coming out. And please stay safe. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.